Hello, welcome to another episode of Pasa, Hialeah. Hi, my name is Dr. Tony Cruz. I'm the campus president here at the Hialeah campus of Miami-Dade College. And today we have a very special guest with us today. He is the mayor of City of Hialeah, the city of progress, the man himself, Mayor Steve Bovo. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. How are you today?
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Pleasure to be with you, and hello to all those that are listening and watching.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you for being. It's an honor to have you. Again, congratulations. I know it's been a couple months, but congratulations on being our new mayor. We're very proud of that fact. You've done a lot of great things for this community over the years. I know we all have the expectations that you will continue to do so. I think a lot of people obviously know you, but there'll be people watching this that are not necessarily in Hialeah, maybe not even Dade County, who knows? So a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, where you went to school, anything else that you want to share with the audience.
Well, I'm the product, like many perhaps that are listening and watching, sons of Cuban exiles, although our exile experience might be a little different. My dad was a veteran of the Bay of Pigs, and upon leaving Cuba, he went and was reunited with my mother in New York in 1962. I was born June of 62 in Queens, New York, and lived in New York for the first, I think, 6 years of my life before cold weather and being Cuban just didn't seem to work.
Right.
And they moved to South Florida. And, that makes me a Miami boy basically since 1969. Went to public school, Village Green Elementary. This is in the south end of the county, which was abutting what was then the Everglades. Now it's like the middle of the county. But sure. Village Green Elementary, went to Riviera Junior High, W.R. Thomas, ended up at Sunset High School, and then went to Miami-Dade College for a couple of years before finishing off at FIU, and considered myself a South Florida person, even though I wasn't born in South Florida. But basically, all my formative years have been here. Raised my family here, father of 5 kids. God blessings, they're all healthy and happy and hardworking, and felt from the very early on that you need to give back to your community, something that my parents kind of drove to us, and myself, along with my brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 5. All of us have somehow or another served our community in different capacities, whether as a vocation or as volunteers.
Yes, well, and we thank you for all those years that you've served the community, and we share something in common. I was born in Chicago, not New York, but and grew up here. Came here when I was 9, and so lived here most of my life. So we share some of that. You went to Sunset, I went to Killian, kind of close.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So really great stuff. And I know that you've had, like I said, many years of service here in the community, particularly here in the Hialeah area. So you've held several elected positions in our community. Which one do you think has been the most challenging, and why?
Yeah, as well you stated, I served on the city council here back in the early 2000s. Then I went to the state legislature, went to the county commission, and now this capacity as mayor. And ironically, the one that I think was maybe the most challenging was being in the state, but not for the complexities of the job. I think there was 2 things that stood out to me when I was in Tallahassee. One was the separation from the family. One of my kids at that time, Sophia, who's now 20 years old, was 5, 6 years old at the time, and I had to do homework with her via Skype, and it was really difficult, and that separation from my family really weighed on me heavily. And God opened the door to come back to local government and the county commission. So there was a challenge about being a state rep. There was another challenge also, which I never really considered until I got there, was that in state government, like what happens at the federal level, you're now part of a caucus, the Republican caucus or the Democrat caucus. And one of the things that I guess I should have known, but I didn't really pay enough close attention to it, was that, being told how to vote, right? Leadership telling you, this is how we need you to vote. And there was no wiggle room. If you wanted to succeed in that process, you had to be a team player. Happens to Democrats, happens to Republicans. It's just a reality of that format. And I didn't like it. I wanted to kind of think through things on my own, come up with my own solutions, vote the way I thought was the most important way, the way I wanted to vote. And I found that at local government. I found that in the city of Hialeah, found that at the county commission, those legislative branches. So for those reasons, Tallahassee was a challenge. I did it for 3 years, and I was happy to leave after 3 years.
Okay, well, yeah, it's very interesting. I've heard that from other individuals that have served in Tallahassee and also even in U.S. Congress about that, those divisions, right, and the kind of like block voting and kind of thing. But you've been able to, you did that, but you've also done a great job at speaking your mind and doing your own thing, and being able to do that at the local level, which has helped, I think, our residents a great deal.
There are common sense solutions to issues that we deal with on a daily basis that the political atmosphere that we deal in today, unfortunately, drives a wedge in common sense issues. Vaccinations, mask wearing, taking care of ourselves, all become political issues that really, I think, has fatigued our community. And these kind of things, you see them in these hyper-partisan situations that you don't find, quite honestly, at the local end of government.
Yeah, you're right. It is refreshing to see that at the local level.
Yeah.
Well, and so, I think, like I said before, we're very excited to have you as our mayor. What's your vision for the city? And I know that, when you, and I've heard you say before, and I remember that you don't make promises, right? That's one of your things, but you do. I know that you have a vision, you're a visionary person. So what do you see as the vision for the city? And then in addition to that, what are the greatest opportunities, what are the greatest challenges as we go into this new year?
Sure. For those that don't know, Hialeah is the second largest city in Miami-Dade County. It is for a long time been considered a industrial and economic backbone of the city. Hardworking folks that make this city. And what has given flavor to our city is that hardworking, blue-collar DNA. I've coined the phrase of the Brooklyn of the South, and if you have that comparison of Manhattan, where all the glitz happens, and then compare Brooklyn, right, where there's a DNA of hardworking folks. Same thing, Miami, Hialeah, Miami Beach, those are the glitz and glam for our county. But Hialeah has its flavor, has its hardworking DNA that I've embraced thoroughly in the years that I've been serving in different elected capacities here in the city. I tell folks, put your eyes on what goes on in Hialeah. We are 5 minutes from the airport, 2 minutes from the beaches. We're 10 minutes from the heart of Broward County and Fort Lauderdale. And I think that we are uniquely positioned to be at the center of all the activity of what's going on in South Florida, considering Dade and Broward County. We're there in the center of it all. And I think that allows us, and we're seeing folks coming to invest. You can't afford to live in Broward, or you can't afford to live in the city of Miami or in Coral Gables or in the beach. Hialeah is now becoming that affordability hub for many of those young professionals. And that for us is where I think the city goes. Look at what happens here in the next 20 years, beyond just political cycles, but long-term investments. I think there's a lot of things going on. We're seeing vertical construction here in Hialeah that's going to lend to different opportunities. Within that comes the challenges, right? How do we grow responsibly and also respect at the same time those that have traditionally lived in our city? All that's part of the mix of what I think is going to be really a renaissance situation going on in Hialeah. Investments that are coming in, a lot of major players, not just in Dade County, but literally in the United States, are looking at Hialeah as opportunities. And we need to be, as government, we need to be ready not only to help facilitate, help support, but like I said, be mindful of those that have lived here years, that have invested in all they want is peace and quiet. So I think those are the challenges that we have as far as the mayor is concerned and the city government. The immediate challenges that we have, I think, are like everybody else. Not only growth, traffic issues, balance. As local government, we're responsible for your police, your fire, making sure your garbage is picked up, fixing those potholes. That's what we do in local government. I often say it's the closest government to folks is your local government, and yet the one that most likely gets ignored in the political landscape. You know, we talk about what goes on in Tallahassee, what goes on in Washington, but it's that local government that's going to make or break that experience in your community. So challenges we have, like anybody else, the ability to meet those challenges and navigate them is really what's going to determine if I'm successful as mayor a couple of years down the road.
Definitely. A lot of opportunities as well, right? I mean, this is, I'm really excited about what's happening here in Hialeah. And you know, I've been here at this campus for 2.5 years, and I've just seen so much growth and so many things, and so many people really getting excited about Hialeah. That's really what really makes it special is,
Sure.
and I think that, you know, with the things that you've done in the past to help this area, and you know, what things that you did while you were on the commission, and now, you know, as the mayor of the city, I think we're charting a course for just great things. So I'm looking forward to all that, and the way this campus can incorporate itself more into the community and help the community grow as you try to do the things that you're doing as mayor with your staff.
Sure.
So really looking forward to all that. That's really great stuff, and really appreciate it.
Well, if I could add, if we could think
Sure.
in terms of looking at our city, not in a lens of from election to election, but in almost like a 20-year cycle. Let's think in terms of passing the baton to a new generation. There are students that are watching this transmission that at some point are going to occupy positions of leadership in our community. Many of them may aspire to be mayor, on the city council, or running a business in the city of Hialeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there's a buy-in on what is it that you're going to contribute to the city long term. At the end of the day, you know, cities are names, maybe geographical locations, but what makes it up is the people that inhabit that city, that DNA, that work ethics. And you know, I hope we're going to have this dialogue continuously, because in 2025, the city of Hialeah will turn 100 years old.
Wow.
And what we'd like to do over the course of that time, as we lead up to that point in 2025, is talk a little bit about the history of our city, understand where we came from, so that we can start charting a path of where we're going to go.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Exciting times.
Sure
and,
thing.
you know, I think that one thing that I know, you know, our students here reflect, you know, our community, and, you know, we have a lot of smart students, but more than anything is the work ethic of our students. You know, our students work really hard. They understand the opportunity that there is here at the college and in our community, and they know that, you know, the harder they work, the better the results. And so that's one thing that stands out in Hialeah above probably any other city in the county. People just, you know, they're just dedicated and really have that really strong work ethic, you know, that they need to be successful.
Sure.
So,
well, we see it in Miami-Dade College. You know, Miami-Dade College has been a portal for so many of us over our lifetime, right? Those that, you know, have to balance perhaps work and education. And I know for me, when I graduated from high school in 1980, you know, I will admit I was kind of rudderless. I wasn't really sure what the next move was, but Miami-Dade was there. And it starts the path on getting educated, getting some tools, some life tools that one could apply later in life. And for that, Miami-Dade becomes an invaluable tool. We're proud to have you in the city of Hialeah. I went to your South Campus down in Kendall, but no doubt about it, having your footprint here in the city helps, I think, helps our city. It's an asset to our city long term.
Thank you. And we're happy to be here and really proud of that fact. You know, my last question for you is really about words of wisdom. You know, we have a lot of individuals watching this, whether it be students, community members. You know, you have vast experience in various leadership capacities. What words of wisdom would you give our audience?
Well, I think first and foremost, if I could close on the city, this is a place where the American dream is continuously being fulfilled. There are many students here that have a story to tell that, you know, came perhaps from a third country where they're here. And, you know, sometimes they're standing on the shoulders of their parents through sacrifice to help them succeed in life. And that's a great story to tell. And I don't think we should ever be ashamed of that. You know, the story of the immigrant that comes with the DNA of hard work, never should be shied away from. And I, talk about this with my kids all the time. I stood on my parents' shoulders through their sacrifice. I do the same for my kids. My wife and I, we sacrifice for them. And I think through life, nothing substitutes hard work. The ability to roll up your sleeves and grind, if I could use that term. And my advice always is, life is not fair. Life is not a straight line. There'll be dips, there'll be curves, there'll be moments of heartache. But through it all, determination, focus on your dream, hard work, and on occasion, if not every day, but on occasion, bend the knee in prayer. I'm a big believer in prayer, and I believe that prayer helps us at least refocus our compass on a daily basis. But hard work will lead you to that thing that we all aspire to, of the American dream.
Definitely. And I applaud you for that. And definitely we are living the American dream and very fortunate to do so. And I want to thank you for those wonderful words of wisdom. I hope that all of you that are watching take those to heart. I think those are very important words, Mr. Mayor. And Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us today on Que Pasa Hialeah. I wish you the best as you continue your journey as our mayor. And I want to thank you all for joining us on Que Pasa Hialeah, and I hope you join us next time. Thank you.
Thank you.